Hello everyone, today we're going to look at Estra, the witch hunter. I'm very excited for this unit. She has the same voice actress as Killua from Hunter x Hunter. And basically she is an anti-mage. She has the highest single target DPS in the game at the moment. She does even better against magic users. She has a lot of movement as a seeker. She can move, attack and then move again. And if she kills an enemy, she can even act again, kind of like Cole. Also, she has a very powerful reaction skill where she will interrupt the enemy's action and attack them. So she also has magic shields, which can be used both defensively and offensively. Defensively in terms of she's going to take less damage from mages, and offensively in terms of she will convert that magic shield, a portion of that magic shield, into her physical attack. So she likes to keep her magic shields topped up for getting the maximum damage output from her magical shields as well. So just taking a look at her factions, there's only two, unfortunately. I'm not sure if that's by design. If maybe they felt she would be a little too overpowered if she gets more factions. And then a quick look at the items I'll be running, which is the Newborn Blade, Crystal Burst Armor, and the Fool's Tarot. So the reason I'm running these items is because I want to increase her HP as much as possible. Because the more HP she has, the bigger her magic shield will be. And the more magic shield she has, the more of that magic shield she can convert into her physical attack. So let's jump into her skills and kit. So we'll be looking at a 1-star Estra here, and we'll just read her trait first. Sorcerer's Bane. So she possesses jump, just like Cole and Nona will. At the start of the turn, you gain a magic shield equal to 150% of magic defense. When attacking, 35% of the character's magical shield is converted into physical attack. Before attacking, for each 1 energy the enemy is missing, damage dealt is increased by 4%, up to 12%. When performing a non-instant single target attack on enemies with magic attack greater than physical attack, deplete 1 energy from the enemy and deal additional physical damage equal to 30% of physical attack. Okay, so let's just go through this step by step. So obviously she has jump, which is great for her getting around the map. Not a lot of units have jump. Also, she gets a magical shield equal to 150% of magic defense. It sounds like a lot, but it's actually not a lot. It's about 20%. It's going to give about 20% shield. Because magical defense is not high, as well as physical defense, when you compare it to their attacking counterparts. So you get 150% of this is going to give her a magical shield. Then of that magical shield, they'll take 35% of that and convert that into a physical attack for her. And before she attacks, for every 1 energy the enemy is missing, damage dealt is increased by 4%, up to 12%. So over here you can see that she's going to deal more damage to enemies the less energy they have. So it goes up in increments of 3. So if they've lost 1 energy, they'll take an extra 4% damage. If they lose 2 energy, they'll take an extra 8%. If they're missing 3 energy, they'll take a 12% extra damage. And it's important to note here that all you need to do is reduce the enemy's energy by 3 to get the maximum effect, to hit that maximum 12%. You don't have to deplete the energy any more than 3 energy. So when performing a non-instant single target attack on characters with magic attack greater than physical attack. So if she's going to attack enemies with magic attack greater than physical attack, that's basically mages, because all mages usually have more magic attack than physical attack. So this final effect down here is going to be targeted to mages. That's why she's the anti-mage. She's going to do even more damage to them. She's going to deplete 1 energy from them and deal an additional 30% of physical attack. That's way more. Physical attack is way more than magic defense. So 30% of 225. So mages take a lot more damage from her. And we can see how she's going to be very strong against mages and specifically against bosses, because most bosses have more magic attack than physical attack. So she's also a boss killer. Right, so now let's just take a look at how she's going to evolve at 2 stars. So at 2 stars, it's going to go up for each enemy the enemy is missing. Damage is increased by 5% to 15%. Also, when attacking targets with no energy, physical attack is additionally increased by 10%. So not only does she do more damage to enemies with less energy, if the enemy has no energy, she's going to do additional damage. So she likes to attack enemies with no energy. At star 3, this is where she makes quite a jump, and it's more than enough. I mean, you could go up to 5 stars for her, but star 3 is a really good jump. So damage is increased by 6%, up to 18% for each energy that they are missing. And also, when you attack mages, she's going to deplete 2 energy instead of 1 energy from the target and deal an additional physical damage equal to 60% of physical attack. So that's double what we get at star 1, which is 30% of physical attack. So big jump at 3 stars. Definitely you want to push her to 3 stars. You could stop at 3 stars as well. If you want to go further, at 4 stars, damage dealt for each energy missing is going to go up to 8%, up to a maximum of 24%. And if they have no energy, the enemy, they're going to take additionally 20% more damage. And finally, at 5 stars, we have damage increase for every energy the enemy is missing by 10% up to 30%. And then we have an additional effect at the end here that's also increased at 5 stars, is at the end of the turn reduces the cooldown of reaction skill and class skill by an additional 1 turn. So that's quite another jump over there. But getting to 5 stars is quite an investment. You could just stop at 3 stars as well. Having this extra benefit at the end is nice, but yeah, it's quite an investment. Okay, so let's go into the skills. Okay, so for her skills, dual strike, she comes with this blinding strike, which is really cool. It's physical damage, teleports behind the enemy, and can move again for 4 tiles. Before moving again, performs 1 basic attack. Before attacking, increase damage dealt by 40%. Ignore assist. If an enemy is defeated, can react. Re-attack. Can be triggered up to 1 time per turn. So this is an amazing default skill that she comes with. So basically, she's going to teleport behind the enemy and then attack them. And before she attacks them, she's going to increase damage by 40%. Once she's done attacking them, then she can move again for 4 tiles. So she can just teleport behind the enemy, hit the enemy, and then she can move, reposition, which is great. Because for Estra, you want to position her facing certain directions, which we'll get into more later. However, if you attack the enemy and she kills the enemy, not only can she move for 4 tiles, she can also react, so she can attack again. So either way, you know, if you kill the enemy or not, she's going to be able to attack and then move again. But it's great if she kills the enemy, because then you can kill the enemy and then attack another enemy. So for rank 1, you definitely want to ignore this side, the trap, and go for Thunder Arrow, which is a passive. When performing a non-instant single target attack, shoots a crossbow bolt at the target. So this is a ranged attack she has. Dealing 30% physical damage, depletes 1 energy from the target, and inflicts no active skills and no energy recovery for 2 turns. This is a really great passive. It's just giving you bonus damage every time she attacks. And it's going to have a nice short range, and then deplete energy. And so we know less energy enemies have, the more energy they lose. They're going to take more damage. And if they have 0 energy, they're going to take additional damage on top of that. So I love this passive that she has. At rank 2, we have Shadow Step on the left. It's different from your conventional Shadow Step. It's an instant. It teleports behind the enemy, steal 2 energy from the enemy, and then depletes 2 energy from the enemy. So basically, it's kind of worded weirdly, but she's going to take 4 energy away from the enemy. She's going to take 2 for herself, and then she's going to take another 2 away from the enemy. So the enemy will lose 4 energy just by doing this. So again, she's making the enemy lose energy, so that means that enemy is going to take more damage. And I mean, if they're losing 4 energy, they're going to get down to 0 energy. Most likely, right? And then they'll take that additional damage that's in her trait. So this is what you want to go for. Hook shot, it's not so great. You know, sometimes hook shot doesn't even work because the enemy is resisted. And but the important thing to note about this hook shot, it's not actually the same as the normal hook shot, because this one inflicts no passive skills. The hook shot we all know about inflicts no reaction skills, so that's the only difference, but still you want to go for this one. At rank 4, we have the reactions, so defense, magical defense, so you want to ignore this. We go straight into Shadow Evasion. Reaction: before receiving an active single target attack by an enemy from behind or from the side within 3 tiles of Estra, performs a preempt, teleports behind the enemy, perform a basic attack that deals 50% damage and interrupts the target's turn. This is a very powerful reaction. So yeah, so important to note is she needs to be attacked from behind or from the side, not in front. That's why I say it's important to reposition her properly, which her initial skill helps her to do, because it allows her to move again after attacking. So yeah, you don't want it to be attacked from the front, and then she's going to so they're going to try and attack her. Then she's going to teleport behind the enemy and then strike them for 50% damage, and she'll interrupt them. So even if she's attacked by a very powerful enemy, she can still survive. And a lot of the times she's just gonna one-shot enemies who attack her, because even 50% of her damage is gonna wipe out a lot of enemies. If we go to rank 6, on the left we have Stance of Exorcism. Support instant, gains a magical shield equal to 80% of physical attack, and gain magic defense up 2 for 2 turns. It's quite cool. This would be a situational skill. It's not something you would use battle after battle regularly. It's just one of those skills you would swap in for a certain, maybe for a boss or something. But definitely recommend you go for the potion on the right. So this is a decision skill. You can select between the Blood of Shadows or Water Exorcism. I'll just refer to it as the blood and the water. So for the blood, it's an instant. You recover 1 energy and you gain Dark Devour. And what is that? It's an effect, a buff. It increases crit chance by 45%, generates 30% lifesteal, and doubles the damage increase from her trait for each 1 energy the enemy is missing. This lasts for 4 turns. When the effect ends, attack and defense are reduced by 8% for 3 turns. So it's basically like she's getting side effects after she drinks the potion, which is unfortunate. It's got a negative effect. So after the 4 turns, after she takes this, she's gonna get like a debuff that reduces her attack and defense by 8%. It's a real drawback against this. But yeah, she gets these nice energy there, gets increased crit chance, lifesteal, and doubles the damage increase in trait So we know that in her trait, for every 1 energy the enemy is missing. So if we look at a trait again, just to recap, before attacking, for each 1 energy the target is missing, damage dealt is increased by 4%. So this will be doubled if she takes that blood potion. So it'll be 8% instead of 4%. And I think that goes up to 24%. Okay, and next we have the water. So this one's an instant. It dispels all debuffs from the enemy. Sorry, it dispels all debuffs from the character. Then recovers 1 energy and gains a mana ward. What is a mana ward? Effect shield. It gives her a shield. Increases defense by 30% and gain a magic shield equal to 150% of physical attack. Gains control immunity before being hit by magic attacks, lasting for 4 turns. And again, when the effect ends, attack and defense are reduced by 8%. So she gets that side effects, negative side effects again, after drinking this potion as well. So interesting to note, with this water, she's going to get a magic shield equal to 150% of physical attack. And this is much more than she gets from her trait. Her trait gives her a magical shield equal to 150% of magical defense. So 150% of this is much less than 150% of this. So she's gonna get a shield of like 20% from a trait. But if she drinks that water potion, she's gonna get like an 80% increase on her magical shield. Gets much more from drinking this. So this water potion is really gonna be important to max out her, to fill up her magical shield. And by maxing out her magical shield, she's gonna do the most amount of damage. At rank 8, we have Feverish Attack, deals physical damage twice, and gains 20% lifesteal. But what you want to go for is Spine Pierce, basic attack, single target attack, deals 110% physical damage. When performing a back attack, ignores the target's physical shield. So enemies with shields, she's going to ignore those shields, which is really powerful for her. So definitely this is a one to go for. And then finally at rank 11, on the left we have Doom Decoy. Passive, before a non-instant single target attack, steal 3 buffs from the enemy, and after the attack, transfer 3 debuffs from Estra to the enemy. If the enemy has no buffs and Estra has no debuffs, the character gains 4 random level 2 buffs for 2 turns. This is another one of those skills that look really good on paper, and it is good, but just practically it's one of those skills you're never actually going to use. It's always just going to be lying there. But yeah, it is great for debuffing the enemy and giving extra buffs there. I'm yet to see how and where I would use this. So, but the one you want to go for is going to be her signature skill, No Restraints, single target attack, ignores reaction skills, first deals 40% damage to the target, then deals 100% damage. Before attacking, for each 1 energy the target is missing, damage dealt increases to 130%, up to 190%. When defeating an enemy, the character recovers 3 energy. So this is similar to her trait. We know that for every 1 energy the enemy is missing, she's going to increase damage by 4%, then 8%, then 12%. But this is much more. So she's going to do a flat 40% damage to the enemy. Then she's going to deal 100% damage. And this 100% will increase to 130% if they're missing 1 energy. If they're missing 2 energy, it's going to go up to 160%. If they're missing 3 energy, it will go up to a maximum of 190%. So you have that 40% plus the 190%. And again, it's important to note, you only have to make the enemy lose a maximum of 3 energy. Even if they have more energy, you don't have to make them lose more than 3 energy in order to get this maximum 190%. So this is a very powerful ultimate skill of hers. Just one thing I'd like to note, it's unfortunate for Estra, but in terms of her skills, so you want to increase Estra's HP because that's going to increase her magic shields, which will then increase her damage. But unfortunately, all the great skills, the skills you should choose, miss out on this HP plus 3%. So even if you want to skip this, you're gonna miss out on that, and it's kind of a waste to use a Castalia on all of these because these are such skills that you're not even gonna use. And then defense plus 3%, not that great. You really want that HP because that's essentially an attack increase as well. So you want to skip that, but unfortunately you're going to miss out on that. And the same goes for hook shot as well. You don't want hook shot, but you're going to miss out on that. And then even stance of exorcism, you want the potions, but you're going to miss out on that. So there's already 9% HP you could miss out on, which is a lot, but that's just how it is. I think I might invest about 2 Castalias maximum to get more HP, but I don't see myself using 3 Castalias to get that 9% HP. Okay, so with all the theory out of the way, let's get into a battle and put everything into practice. Okay, so again, we're running these items. Okay, so the moves we'll be using is going to be her basic attack, which does 110% damage and ignores shields if she attacks an enemy from behind. She's got the reaction where if the enemy targets her within 3 tiles, she will teleport behind them, do 50% damage, and interrupt their action. And then I've got this passive skill, which is just going to do 30% damage every time she does an attack, an extra 30%. Remove 1 energy, inflict no active skills, no energy recovery for 2 turns. We've got the potions here, which is the blood and the water. And then we have the this is her initial skill she comes with. Whenever she attacks, she can move an extra 4 tiles. If she kills the enemy, she can act again. Right, so let's just take a look at her. Okay, so we know from her trait, let's just slow this down. So from her trait, she takes 150% of magic defense into a magical shield. You can see that's the magical shield she gets there. And you can see it's not a lot, right? And then 35% of that is converted into her attack. So there we can see the magical shield she has, and then she's got a bit of attack that's going up from the magical shield. Now, she is a seeker, this guy's a defender, so she's weak to defenders, but we'll see how well she does against a defender. So, if I just do a basic attack, you can see she barely gets through his shields, right? She can't even get through his shields. Obviously, he counters her. And if I use this initial skill she comes with, the blinding strike on this enemy, still doesn't do that much damage. She gets through the shields, does a bit of damage to him. But if I give her, let's see, let me first give her the blood potion. Remember, this is going to give her 1 energy. It's going to increase the effect of her trait. So for every 1 energy the enemy is missing, damage will be increased additionally. Let's see how much damage it does now. Still not much damage. And if I use the blinding strike, still not that much damage. Now I'm going to backtrack, and I'm just going to show you the big difference it makes when she drinks the water potion. And remember, this is going to give her a extra magic shield. Okay, now you can see her magic shield was topped up to max. So it gives about 80% to that magic shield. Because this is 150% of her physical attack that's converted into magical shield. Now let's see how much damage she does with a basic attack. Okay, much more on this enemy. Gets through his shields. And if we use the blinding strike, yeah, a lot more damage even against the roll that counters her. Yeah, and she just killed him. So yeah, because of her passive, she also does an extra 30% damage, just a free 30% damage. So she hits them once and then hits them again. And because she killed him, she can now act again. You can see how much she can move. So she can take down another enemy, and she can actually use Blinding Strike again. Is that free 30%? And again, she can still do her free movement of 1, 2, 3, 4 tiles. And so that means she can kill enemies and then like run away. So I'm just gonna leave her on auto now. She took the blood potion. Okay, so very smart AI as well. She plays well on auto. So I'm just gonna let her play on auto again, and we're just gonna watch what she does. All on her own. She took the blood potion, which increases her trait effect. So she goes for the weak enemies first, she runs away. It's a really nice auto. Okay. So there you can see that's her reaction skill. It only activates once per turn, so she did take one hit there. But when this guy attacked her from, I think it was from behind. So if she's attacked from behind or the side, she's gonna do that, teleport behind them, strike them, and interrupt the action so they won't even be able to move. So this is a very powerful reaction skill, and at 5 stars, she will be able to reduce the cooldown of that reaction skill by 1 turn. So instead of 2 turns, she'll only have that reaction down for 1 turn, which is very powerful for her. And she takes the, what's that, the water potion, which gives her the magic shield there, maxed up. And the higher that is, the more damage she does. Look how much damage she did to the front on a tank unit with shields. So it's night and day. It's really night and day, her damage output, depending on the magic shield. Yeah, so he tried to attack her and then she teleports and kills him. So yeah, it's night and day between that magic shield, and that's why you want to keep her magic shield topped up as much as possible, which can also be a challenge because you have to sort of balance it out between her being attacked by enemies and keeping that magic shield up. Okay, so now we're just gonna play around and change out some skills. So I will, let's see, I'll leave this passive on. I'll take off the initial skill she comes with, the blinding strike, and I'll replace this blinding strike with her ultimate. And so this ultimate is the one that does a free 40% damage and then a 100% damage. And then for every 1 energy the enemy is missing, it increases the damage by 30%, so it goes up to 130%. If they're missing 2 energy, it's 160%. If they're missing 3 energy, the maximum, it goes up to a maximum of 190%. So let's put this one in. Now the downside with the ultimate though is she can't get the act again. That's why I like to use the initial skill more than her ultimate, because it's got that act again if she kills the enemy. But the ultimate obviously does more damage. Yeah, also just ignore this liberation skill. It's just increasing a few of her defensive stats. Nothing too much to note there. Okay, so let's see how she plays with her ultimate. Takes the blood potion. Okay, so you can see the difference between the blood potion and the water potion there. She does so little damage to the defender because she took the blood potion, and she obviously doesn't have maxed out shields to him. So the blood potion is cool because it gives her 1 energy, it gives her extra crit chance, extra lifesteal, and increases the effect of her trait. So for every energy they're missing, they take more damage. But it's nothing compared to the water potion, which is gonna give her that magic shields and then that extra damage. And there she goes down. It's just to show you how much more ineffective she is without her initial skill, even though she's using her ultimate. And on auto, you know, she's kind of struggling a lot. Let's just help her out here. See what she does. That's why I like to go for that build with the initial skill. Just because she picks up like a kill and then she can act again, then she gets another kill, and then her reaction protects her from the next attack, and then it's just getting a lot of kills. So let me just backtrack there. Also, one thing to note is you can see her magic shields are going up and up slowly, and that's because every turn she's going to get 150% of her magic attack converted into a magic shield. So it does slowly top up by itself, but it takes quite a while. So the longer the battle goes on, the longer she's alive, the stronger she's basically getting. However, the downside to those potions again is once these 3 turns are up, she's going to take those side effects. So she's going to lose 8% 8% damage, and she's going to lose 8% defense as well. So let me just move her here. Okay, let's just take a look. Let's see if we can assassinate this guy. So her magic shield's increased again now because it's another turn. So it's almost full. So I wonder if we could actually... Doesn't look like it's enough. Let's just take the other potion. So that's the water potion. Okay, so she's got magic maximum shields now. Let's see if we can assassinate this guy now with our ultimate. So that's interesting. That's just interesting how she still couldn't assassinate this guy with her ultimate, but she could do it with her initial skill, the blinding strike. So let's take another look at her against a boss. Okay, so for the boss, let's just switch out her skills. We'll go for the basic attack, the reaction, the passive, which gives us that free hit that she does on the enemy for 30%. It removes 1 energy from the enemy as well. We're gonna give her the potions. I'm gonna swap out the ultimate, this ultimate skill, for her initial skill, which is the skill that allows her to move again after attacking, or to act again if she can kill the enemy. We'll just see how much damage she does with this. Now remember, she is the anti-mage, and a lot of the bosses are mages because their magic attack's higher than physical attack. Let me just give extra movement. Higher than physical attack, so she excels against bosses. So again, a trait gives her that 150% of magic defense as a magic shield. There, she's got that every turn. So we'll just move her in here. And so her basic attack is going to do 3,297. If we use this blinding strike, it's going to do about 4,500. So if we give her this, let's just test, let's give her the blood potion. So there, it's going to recover 1 energy for her. Okay. So that, remember, that's going to increase her crit chance, which we won't be able to see on the stats because we don't know what crit's gonna come out. It's gonna give her some life steal, again that we also won't see on the numbers. And it's going to increase the effect of her trait. So for every energy he's missing, he's gonna take double the amount of that damage. But it won't be easy to come out on the numbers. So this went up about 700 to 4,000. And then this went up about 1,000 from 4,500. So let's just attack the enemy here and then we'll see how much it does. Okay, so now I'm gonna backtrack. And now we'll take the water potion instead. Okay, so what this does is gonna max out on magic shield, 150% of physical attack added to magic shield. Okay, and then let's see how much damage a basic attack does now. 6,300, so that's a lot more than, what was it, 3,400. It's almost double. If we used blinding strike, it went up to 8,600, so almost double again there. So you can see a massive difference between the two potions. Obviously this is just showing you how important her magic shields are going to be for getting that maximum DPS on bosses or whatever. So let's just attack and see how much damage this does. Okay, so you can see that's a lot more damage than when she used the blood potion. Okay, so finally I'm going to show you what gets the maximum damage on the boss. So we're going to swap out her initial skill, which allows her to act again after she kills an enemy. She's great. It's great for auto. It's great for getting the most amount of kills on enemies. But to do the most amount of single target damage, you want to use your ultimate. It's obviously going to do a lot more damage. And I'm just going to show you how depleting the enemies, how important it is to deplete the boss's energy to get the maximum amount of damage. So for this, we're actually going to do a little test. I'm going to run this build and see how much damage this build does. So this one has a basic attack, a reaction, and it's got her passive skill. So the passive skill gives us an extra 30% damage for free and reduces 1 energy from the boss. Okay, so I'm gonna compare this with her Shadow Step skill, which reduces the enemy's energy by 4. So we're gonna see if is it better to use the teleport skill to reduce the boss's energy to 0, or is it better to just keep the passive skill in this skill slot? Which one is gonna give us the best damage? So it's just a quick test. So first we'll run with the passive. Okay, so on its own, the ultimate says it's going to do about 6,000 damage. Let's give her now the shields for that maximum damage. Okay, so just take note, the boss has 3 energy. He hasn't lost any energy yet. So we're not going to increase damage against him. Now that I've given a maximum shield, it says it's going to do 11,455 damage. Let's just see how much damage this does. Okay, so in total there we did 16,113 damage. Okay, now I'm going to swap out the passive, so we're going to lose that 30% damage she does, as well as the 1 energy she removes from the enemy. We're going to replace it with this teleport skill to remove the enemy's energy and see how much damage we do. Okay, so just take note, the enemy has 3 energy, and if we use this skill, so it's going to teleport. Okay, and then remove, it's going to steal 2 energy from the boss, and so you can see she's maxed out on energy now. She took 2 energy, as well as reduce the enemy's energy by 2, so it's a total of 4 energy he's lost. He's now down to no energy. And we know that with her trait, if she attacks an enemy, for every 1 energy the enemy is missing, they'll take an extra 4% damage, up to 12%. But also if they have 0 energy, they're going to take an extra additional amount of damage. That's not at rank 1, that's from rank 2. They'll take an extra 10% and that'll go up and up depending on the ranks. So she's only star 1, so it's not going to do additional damage. Yeah, but basically he's gonna take more damage because he's lost 3 energy now, which means he's lost the maximum amount you need to max out her trait effect. It goes 4%, 8%, and then 12% for every energy he's missing. So he's going to take that extra 12% damage. Also, what that means is for her ultimate, it does the similar thing to her trait. For every 1 energy missing, this is going to increase from 100% to 130%. For 2 energies missing, it's going to increase 160%. If they're missing 3 energy, it increases to 190%. So this will be 109% on the boss, as well as the flat 40% that we get. So just by taking away his energy, we see the ultimate is going to do 8,200 damage. It's quite a lot. Now let's max out that shield so we can get that maximum damage. We got full shields now. Now it says it's going to do 13,662. So let's just see if this is going to be more than the passive skill that she has. Because remember, I swapped the passive out for the teleport. So we're missing out on the passive's free 30% that it gives us to take this teleport skill, which reduces all the enemies' energy. So let's just see how much this does and compare to the passive. Okay, so when I'm using the teleport skill, it's going to do 16,663. So it's more or less the same amount of damage whether she uses a passive or whether she uses the teleport skill. I've done this a couple of times and it's always similar numbers, but it's just experimentation. And I think that also, if you consider her rank, this Estra is obviously a 1 star, and if she goes to 2 stars, for example, then she gets this extra effect. When attacking enemies with no energy, physical attack is additionally increased by 10%. So obviously if she goes up in rank, the teleport skill will actually deal more damage to the boss, because we just removed all of the boss's energy down to 0. So they'll take this additional 10% damage. And then if you go up to star 4, they'll take an extra 20% damage if they have no energy. So maybe using the teleport skill will give you maximum damage output on bosses, I'm not sure. The problem with the teleport skill is though that it has a long cooldown. If I just find it here, so the shadow step, it has a 4-turn cooldown, so it's really not practical to use all the time unless you have somebody who can reduce the cooldown on this. It's just not a practical skill to use, whereas the passive is always active. The thunder arrow is always active, so you're always going to get that flat free 30% damage, and you're going to remove 1 energy. It's not 4 energy, but it's still something, and inflict no energy recovery. A lot of bosses are immune to this. I think this boss is also immune to no energy recovery, but you do get that 1 energy depletion on the enemy. So this is better for like auto or just regularly playing. If you're trying to get like a 1-shot maximum damage, maybe trying to like 1-shot the boss or something, then maybe Shadow Step would give you the highest numbers. It's just not, I personally don't like it. It's kind of like, you know, you got to set it up and stuff. So just to recap on Estra, yeah, I really find that using her passive is just for ease of use. It's really nice to have to play her with instead of using the teleport skill. And then I usually run like the potions, as well as I would take off her ultimate skill just for auto battling and normal battles, and give her the initial blinding strike just to get those act again, kill more enemies, and then the reaction's obviously gonna hit another enemy. So that's what I like to go for as my default. But yeah, you can really move around, switch in and out a lot with Estra. So depending on what the situation is, it's a really great ultimate, powerful as well. But it's not something I feel like I'll always run all the time. And so for weapons, again, I'm running the Newborn Blade because we get that 10% HP, and the higher HP, the higher that magic shield cap will go up, which equals more physical attack, more HP there as well. And then I've got the Fool Tarot as well, which is going to increase HP a lot. Again, you could run Justice over here, but I find that the numbers are better on, you get better damage numbers with the extra HP. Yeah, and obviously running the Justice is going to be a bit of RNG. If you can land the crits and if you can run that extra crit damage, that will also be it could also be a great build for Estra. But I personally just like to increase HP the most. So just to close off, just in terms of synergy units she runs well with, Home is going to be great to do that physical defense down 3 on the boss. Imagine how much damage I would do on this boss if I could reduce his defense by that much. He does vulnerable down as well on the boss, Tahir, which is also works well with I like using Kavare for his potential burst. It's very good with her. He just gives that to her for free, so she has extra attack and defense, which will allow her to survive more, and to especially if there's more weaker enemies, to really burst down enemies quickly. Yeah, anything that's gonna reduce defense on the enemy is gonna work well, or to buff up her attack, as well as energy and as well as reducing her cooldowns with something like a Coco would also be great, specifically on that teleport that has a long cooldown. And then you also have a Karis, which would work great with her, especially a 3-star Karis who can get the revelation and give a big magic shield. Karis will help with her magical shields, keeping that topped up. Yeah, I mean, if you guys have any ideas as well, it's just so many units you could even add with. So let me just increase our movement here. Yeah, so you could use Tahir. She's not that energy dependent. Usually she has enough energy. But you could use your Tahir to inflict the vulnerable on the boss. As well as you can speed her up, so she's quite slow, but we can increase her speed. Okay, that didn't change. You could also, yeah. And then you could use your Kavare to give a potential burst, which is a great buff. Just bring Kavare in over here. We'll give him some debuffs on the list. We have Inanna just to give us these buffs for co-attack. And then give her a extra action. Okay, so we'll move her in here now. We'll just see what does she have. Wow, like a school essay. So she's got some let's just see what's important here. So she got potential burst for extra 20% attack and 40% defense. She's got the co-attack from Inanna, which is going to increase attack a bit, co-defense, increase the defense a bit as well. Extra damage, 20%. Yeah, so it's just a bunch of attack boosts there. And in terms of the enemy, what does he have? He's got a whole of debuffs. Let's just look at the ones that's relevant for her. So the boss has, yeah, he's just got an extra bit of vulnerability from Tair there. Right, so we'll move her in here. We'll give, we'll max out that magic shield. Wow, it's jumped up to 22,439. You can see how much damage she's gonna do now. It's actually more, but it's gonna be more than that. Wow, okay. And because of Inanna, she can move again. Just a basic attack there. But the passive allows her to get more attacks in there. And she has her magic shields are still topped up, so I can't, there's no use giving her magic shields with Karis now. Yeah, but you can just see, you can start to get ideas now of how you can play her and what units to play with. Imagine a Homer as well. Probably could have killed this boss with a Homer and a Warhorn. And okay, so another thing to note with the ultimate, it does have a 2-turn cooldown. That's another downside compared to her initial skill, the Blinding Strike. The Blinding Strike will usually, you can use it twice after each other, but this one's going to be on cooldown for a turn, which is unfortunate. But she's still going to dish a lot of damage here. Yeah, and then he's gone. Yeah, so that's Estra. Really cool unit. I love this unit. I can't wait for it to come out. Very fun to play. Makes the game more enjoyable as well. And yeah, I'm excited to play her more, to learn more about her. And if I missed anything, or if you have any ideas, just let us all know in the comments. It really helps everyone out to learn the character together. And yeah, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.